Republican Democratic Party, say we're in trouble with them to set up our here. Tonight you might be able to help me with some calls in the box today, so like that numbers and
Who? Jim Clarke. Yes. Diane Watson.
I think Culver City is so fortunate to have the caliber of people who are in this room. And I want you to know, every 10 years, when they take the census, they draw some parts of my districts, I've had a few, in and some parts out. When this was part of a district that LA Unified covered, I came out and talked to members of the school board. I used to sit in your city council. You know what I learned about Culver City? Every single resident was involved in governing this municipality. And so I begged to get Culver City back in the district, and I was fortunate to get it. There's a young man here that has paid his dues in ever so many ways. And my career spans 30 years. His name is Jim Clarke. And every time I ran for office, and any other Democrat ran for office, Jim was always there. He was there with Senator Cranston. He was there with so many major people who are going to serve this district. He served me as my chief of staff. He worked in the campaign, and when I won, he went with me to Washington, D.C. And I want you to know, you will not be served any better by anyone than Jim Clarke. He knows government. He knows the people in government. He knows the structure of this city like the back of his hand, and other coterminous areas too. So when you vote for Jim Clarke, you are voting for a career that has been in public service way long before he was elected. And I was saying, it's his time now. His time was decades ago, but he gave it to others. So I want to say, Jim, I am so proud to say that you worked for me, not only when I was running, but in Washington, D.C. It is now your turn. And your turn to continue the kind of representation for the people of this city and the people of the state and the people of the nation that you've always done. So thank you for running.
So many elected officials in this room, I'm sure we're violating Brown Act or something. So don't talk business. The Lakers need me tonight, Jim. You clearly don't, because you've got all of Culver City that's had your back. I wish you all the luck April 10th. I was pleased to have known you, work with you with Diane. Pleased that you decided to step up and jump like I did. Wish you all the luck. I've got your back. April 10th, it's all yours.
Good evening, everybody. Afternoon. I probably know Jim longer than anybody. He didn't even know it. We first met in 1969.
When he was a young man.
When he was already involved and I was getting recruited. Many of you remember back in 1969, you remember what I was getting recruited for. We met way, way back. And I don't remember exactly what he said, but I didn't go to the academy. I've seen Jim personally work with people who have problems and get them settled. I've seen Jim describe very, very difficult things to people. I've seen him make promises to people. And even though I've seen everything like that with Jim, I'm voting for him anyway. We need people in city government who know what a budget is and know how to manipulate a budget. Jim's had that experience. He's got the experience with other municipalities. He can talk to LA, he can talk to Culver City, and more importantly, I think he actually talks to us. Unlike some other candidates, he's having his first-time experience one time. And I really wish him the best. That's why we're all here, and that's why I'm supporting Jim Clarke.
I really came here expecting to preach to those who were wondering rather than, this is preaching to the choir. But what I wanted to say was, I've heard a number of people out there who say, well, Jim Clarke, what did he ever do for Culver City? And let me tell you, those of us who were in office know what he did for Culver City. Jim, along with Congresswoman Watson, did huge things for Culver City. When we went to her with a problem, they listened. And back there in Washington, behind the scenes, they were working to help. Whether it was light rail or communications for police and fire or improvements along the creek or any number of other things. When we went to them and said, we have a problem, we need help, they didn't make a lot of noise about it, but they worked hard. And Jim would be back in touch in a week or two, or maybe a month, saying, well, we've done this and this, and I'm talking to this person. When we go back there, Jim would put you in touch with the right people you needed to be talking to represent Culver City. So he, along with the Congresswoman, was really back there working for us all the time. So he really knew and understood our problems and was in our corner. Thank you, Jim.
Now, we also have a lot of organizations around here. We have Culver City Democratic Club, because we have numerous past precedents from that. The current one is Bill Wynn, and then we have Ronnie Jane, myself, and others. Steve Gorley, who is the president of that. Who else was president of the Culver City Democrats? Okay. Then we also have Jim Clarke himself. My goodness. Now, Jim has had a little bit of experience in this kind of stuff. What has he done? Well, he's been a resident of this city for 17 years, but he's also been he is currently the director of LA Mayor's Office of Grants. What does that mean? It means money, folks, coming into Culver City. He is also a former chief of staff of Diane Watson, as she mentioned, and of Brad Sherman. He's also been an executive director of the Clean Money Campaign and of the Southern California Americans for Democratic Action. And 23 years active duty as a military in the U.S. Coast Guard, and he just retired as a commander. So he also started with a Master's of Public Administration. So if you want a background for a politician, this is the guy, right? Right. I'm very happy that he's my friend and I've worked with him many times. Jim?
Thank you, Tom. I'm having an enviable job of trying to introduce everybody who's an elected official here. I'm glad I didn't have to do that, so I appreciate that. Thank you all for turning out here. I want to acknowledge a couple of people, too, that have been involved from the beginning of my campaign. Sylvia Moore, who is my videographer and social media person. I don't even know all the stuff she does with Facebook and Twitter and all of that sort of thing, but she manages to help get my information out. Tyrone Washington, who's my photographer, who's the photographer for Mayor Villaraigosa and will make anybody, including me, look good in pictures. Maggie Rankin, who is at our check-in counter. Are you there, Maggie? Come say hi to
Show your face, Maggie.
And I saw Evelyn. Evelyn, where are you? Evelyn has been my my political consultant, and there's Evelyn. Thank you, Evelyn. I also want to thank the endorsements that I received from the Chamber of Commerce, Steve Rose. I appreciate that very much, being one of the 4 that was endorsed by the Chamber, and as well as the Democratic Club. I'm the only, I've got 10 former mayors, most of you are here, that have endorsed my campaign, and as I understand it, none of you ever received the endorsement of the Democratic Club and the Chamber of Commerce in one election.
Corlin.
You did. Did you?
You got going by the Democratic.
Jim,
Oh, well then
there was a reason for that. And there still is a reason.
Thank you, Steve. But I want to acknowledge, and I appreciate you coming out for this. The reality of my being able to have a successful campaign, and I think we do have a successful campaign. I mean, it's sort of nerve-wracking time. We're down to 10 days, but who's counting? Who's losing sleep? I don't know. You know, but the reality of my ability to be able to go out and be able to talk to people and to convince them to vote for me and support me and take a lawn sign or do a copy for me is really based on the support that all of you have given me, because it gave me the credibility to be able to say to them that I have Congresswoman Diane Watson supporting me, I have Holly Mitchell supporting me, I've got 10 former mayors, that both Democrats and Republicans, supporting me. I've got 11 current and former school board members supporting me. And that carries a lot of weight in this community because people understand that. Somebody told me early on in this campaign that there will be about maybe 6,000 people who will vote. And out of that 6,000 people that vote, I'll probably identify about 300 or so of those individuals. In fact, I've got about 350 people who have endorsed my campaign that are Culver City residents. That means that 95% of the people that vote in this election, really, I don't know who they are. They will base their vote on things like the mail that we receive, that Evelyn has done a great job on, the lawn signs that my friend Steve Schwartz, who just I saw popped in here, who also a former member of the school board, has been going around putting out for me.
By the way, we have more signs.
We have more signs. We have signs for you to take with you. The endorsements that I have received, but that's what really counts, that people are making their judgment on. So I very, very much thank all of you for what you've done. And whatever you can do in the last 10 days to let people know, I know that each of you are have influence on lots of voters. I always would say to people, I probably can influence at least 10 or 15 people to vote on any particular election. I know that probably you have even more clout than that. So just talking to your neighbors, talking to people, letting them know about this election, letting them know that they get 4 votes in this election, which is very unusual. Those of you that have been around for longer than I have, tell me, was there ever an election with four candidates on the ballot for city council? I don't know a time when that was happened.
Somebody was indicted.
Yeah. Anybody who knew Steve? So letting people know they get 4 votes and letting them know about my campaign will be very helpful. So again, thank you all for coming out. This is really just to thank you for all that you've done and then all that you will do in the next 10 days to help me get elected. Our victory party is going to be at the City Tavern, which is right across from City Hall. It's celebrating its 1-year anniversary on April 3rd, on Tuesday, with an event fundraiser for the Historical Society, which I would encourage, right Barbara, are you still here? Encourage everybody to support for the Historical Society. But come out also on the night of the 10th, it's right across the street from City Hall, where they'll be counting the ballots, and come out and celebrate a great victory that we're going to have. Again, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. And
Let's hear it for our guy. Jim Clarke. Nothing will help me. No, nothing will help me. I don't give a damn if no, Cheney, we got 2 hearts, it wouldn't make any difference. It won't make any difference. His head is screwed up.